This is Crusso, and just had a very interesting um, ayahuasca experience, and drinking my brew. Um, it took a little bit to kick in, but when I when it started to kick in, I had like an out of body experience, and it was it sounded like a sound, like a poof sound when I left. It was very simple, leaving the body, but I felt like even though when I had an out of body experience, I felt I still felt a little connected to to this human body, and I just felt like a time continuum, a separate. It was like a separated time continuum type experience. Like I was like in a. It felt like it felt like I was in a picture frame of an experience of a world of itself. It was just a picture frame. It felt that way. And it was like there was nothing outside that picture frame but that experience itself. And then somehow I woke up, I was asleep, I was meditating. When I woke up, I just went right back into the body, into this human body. And it was amazing. It was, I was just having, it was a spirit talking to me, which is actually myself. It was just talking to me. It was telling me a lot of things that, it was telling me things that I already know, but it was just reminding me. It was just a different perspective I was getting from my higher self. And one of the things that really intrigued me was that it was explaining to me that Earth and everything on Earth or outside, the idea of an outside of Earth, everything in this dimension, for example, is part of a, well, it's part of a wall of a woman's vagina, basically. And that's pretty much the major gist about this experience. Far as the layers of the layers or the shedding from within continues all the time. It's kind of hard to express this in the audio, but I'm going to share this with everybody, even though it's going to sound funny. And I don't care. A lot of things that's so bizarre that your own head alone won't have literally no idea, but that's an illusion of itself because your spirit knows so much. So I was having a conversation with the spirit from within me that how it was explaining to me about the woman's vagina, how when it sheds, or you want to call it the egg sheds, or a woman go through a period, that's just basically how this dimension represents all the body. It's a constantly renewal, and it may seem like pain, but it's not. It also described to me that the human part of consciousness is the wild beast. it described to me that the human part of consciousness is Satan. And it's all orchestrated by the self, higher self. It's the loud voice, that outer shell, which that's part of the human experience. That loud voice, the ego, even the corruption part of the ego of self, all that, the loudness, the corruption, the so-called dark, all that's like an outer shell. And then it showed me a picture that when it evolves, when consciousness evolves, it just cracks open. That outer shell, that loud voice, that beast, that wild beast that the human part of consciousness represent, which is confusion. All the confusion you see in this world and people not certain who they are and what's going on and this and that. It's just all part of the play. It's that loud voice, it's that outer shell that's basically going to crack. So from within consciousness, the one that the actual truth of consciousness is actually calm, power. It's complete knowing of everything. But the power is just so deep. But it's so quiet. Consciousness, I've seen consciousness in a different angle, that consciousness is an idea of a female's body, of a constantly reproduction of itself. It reproduces, it layers. The pain is because the ego feel that it's going through a pain, but there is really no pain. It's just consciousness shedding itself over and over. But the outer shell, that outer shell is going to crack open. That's what I see. But even though I'm saying this is what I'm going to see like in a future, it's actually happened now. It was showing me about how time is basically, it's like part of a script. It's part of a script into your own experience. That's what it is. It was telling me you can't control time. The spirit was telling me you can control time. You can have time go fast, completely fast. It was demonstrating to me about how time could basically easily be manipulated. And the reason why time could be manipulated is through your emotions. Your emotions plays the part of time. When you feel certain ways, you're really controlling time. So it was telling me that, when sometimes you feel when time is so slow and time just goes so fast and you're going with a feeling. And I said, yes, that's when you're really controlling time. It's not so complicated like what people will make it as, or impossible. Nor do you need a machine to control time. Time is basically, all it is just it's like a script off of a book or a movie screen. It was showing me things about how our emotions play a big part in a lot of things in this life. It went on and it was showing me how it was testing certain scenarios with me. I was, like, for example, it was showing me things like there was a meeting between a couple of people, and one person say, "Hey, how you doing, so and so?" It mentioned this person's name, and it made it like it was such a big, like, you know how people make other people so big upon themselves because of a name. People make, like, you meet someone, "Oh, I'm meeting so and so," and it's all about the ego. It's like you make someone so big and attaches to your feeling state. And it was just showing me how that's just a shell. That's really nothing. when you try to put yourself lower or meet somebody as someone greater than you, that's just a shell. It was showing me situation when people feel so angry and towards one another, and it was showing me things about how someone put the energy in terms of I'm going to get you or I'm going to come after you and you will get this done. And it was just showing me that's just like a script. It's like it's like what is that? That's just like it's like a piece of a like a I don't know how to put it. It's like all the emotions that people go through. It's like it's like a Photoshop, or it's like it's an illusion. I mean, that's the best way I could describe it. I'm still, I'm still in my experience right now a little bit. So I'm just putting things together and recording. I felt like I need to record this right away because it's complex to go back and remember, but the spirit was telling me things like, don't worry, you already know all this stuff. Everything I'm sharing to you, you already know. All the knowledge and everything that you feel, it's there. And it was just showing me. It was just telling me, and just to put it in my words, it was just telling me all the stuff that goes on. It seems so highly emotional, and so the drama is just all it is. It's like a little Photoshop or a template, or it's like a little tiny. It's like a little picture frame of something. I know this experience is very strange of itself to explain, but I was shown a lot of things about people, how what humans are in a different angle spiritually. Um, the only thing that stood out to me is the woman's vagina. That's what the outer body is. Um, it's the renewing all the time. It never stops. It was telling me that sometimes people talk about there's an end to something. You will never end. You can't end yourself. And I knew that, but hearing it from myself from a different dimensional plane, it was very interesting. It was showing me pictures of a scenario that's kind of hard to describe in this audio. It's like it's just I'm gonna do my best to explain. It was like when you try to play the game of trying to end yourself, you're going right back into the from the last place that you started. And I said, well, what do you mean? I said, okay, let's just say you end yourself, but you're still here. I said, wow. He said, yes. People constantly believe in this game that there's an end to something. And what this being, the spirit was telling me, your spirit is a continuum, which I always share this too. Maybe there's a layer of yourself which just shift out, but you just continue over and over. And that's what I was saying about this earth and everything outside and everything. It's this dimension and everything else, we're in a body. And I kept exploring different parts of consciousness. And I was saying to the spirit, I said to the spirit, I enjoy exploring all of consciousness. I'm not afraid. I know. I just want to endlessly explore consciousness. And I was traveling within myself, seeing different dimensions. kind of hard to describe in an audio, but just use your imagination, everybody. I was just seeing, it's like I was like looking at different organisms and organisms that look like different objects and different, I don't know, it's like organism that's made up of picture frames and time seems to, is such a weird energy, time. And yeah, the human part of consciousness definitely, it has a main part of all of this too. And I know it's hard to swallow for a lot of people to hear this, that the human part of consciousness is Satan itself. Everyone thinks that Satan is basically something separated, but no, everything is all together. You see, inside of a human being's spirit is what consciousness, the calmness, the power within consciousness is inside. However you want to describe consciousness is. It is the rebirth of all things, and it continues to rebirth over and over, over and over. So the idea of Satan and the loud voice and all those things, right? That seems to be a big threat to everything. It's not. It's just a shell. When the human body, you see, when the human race evolves, it's going to be like a gooey, it's like some sort of gooey power, raw energy power that just emerged. It just like, it's just like a star. It's like a star giving birth of another star, and then it just gave birth to another star. But the brightness is just unfathomable. It's just hard to describe the brightness, but everything's within. Darkness plays a role into this too. It's not like darkness is quote unquote evil. It has a part into this, you know. People get misconception about light and dark through religion ideas, but everything goes together. And when that when that gooey raw energy that pours out of people, that people evolve, that's consciousness showing itself. It's like a new skin. It's like a new skin that just broke out. And that's it. It's just the nature of life. Just go back into the basics, things like a caterpillar and a butterfly. It is natural for it to go in a caterpillar state. And then it breaks out of the caterpillar, then it transforms, it goes into a shell, and it breaks free into a butterfly. That's why a lot of people look at butterflies and their out-of-body experience and their life after life experience as as something symbolic, because not only consciousness is the out-of-body consciousness is an ideal of a woman, but is a butterfly. A woman is not just like a human form. A woman represents all lines of women, whether it's an AT, whether it's different types of dimensional, it's all in one form. I would love to describe this better in an audio, but it's kind of hard, especially I'm just coming out of my experience. But it's a butterfly, and it's a fractal of all women, all all in one. Now, I know the ego, the human ego is not going to like it, because we look at it like, well, what about the men? The men is also included on all of this. We're talking about the idea of rebirth. We're talking about the constantly renewing, the continuum of what life is. The raw energy within a human being lies within. So when you see people acting out loud, and you got these corrupt politicians and these corrupt religion people and all these other people acting like they have no idea what the hell to do with themselves, that's that shell. That's the outer shell of consciousness. And it plays its part. It's the nature, it's taking its natural course, and it just breaks. This is nothing, anything to do with negativity. It just breaks. So, I know from my own experience, and then after talking to the spirit, that, you know, we play duality with the good and evil, but at the end, just a saying, in the end, even though there is no end, but in the end, everything plays its part. Everything goes back into source of life. Humans will constantly believe that there's a separation, will constantly believe in false gods, and constantly believe something's going to come and destroy us, and constantly believe in this nonsense. And it's not. But this is a natural state that the human consciousness does. Anybody that relies on their own five senses alone, that you're playing this part, you have no idea what life really is until you stop and tap into yourself, your inner self, and then you will know. You will actually know what life is. You think the fathom around this world and what people do to each other, you think that's really life? No, it's not. It's a stage. That's all it is. It's a stage. You think I care about me showing these things to everybody and telling everyone this? You think I'm going to seek approval, whether people are going to like what I'm saying or not? No, I don't care. The truth is the truth. And the truth is going to pierce through that hard shell, that so-called hard shell that people put up. That physical form that you think you are, that's really not you, really. That's just that's just an illusion of yourself. It is true. It goes back what I always say. This world is a stage. It is. You can't stop life. No matter how even the so-called elites and so-called people think they got power, they can't do anything. They're like ants. But that's consciousness. It's consciousness put itself into an ant form. And you think that at a human ego level, you're going to basically control life? You're going to stop life? You're not. You're not. It's like this. Consciousness allow these silly things that people do just for the sake of you basically going to re-tap into your inner self. That core, that calmness, that pure raw power, that's what people going to basically see within. And the renewal. Yes, this world and everything around this dimension is basic. I can't believe, it's amazing. My mind was telling me, wow, I can't believe what I'm seeing. But yeah, this realm is part of a wall of a woman's vagina in a bigger body. That's just what it is. And you're going to have to, whether you take my words or not, doesn't matter to me. It's this, there's so much more to life than from what your own eyes could actually fathom. Wow, I've seen different things. It's great. I had a very great conversation with the spirit, which it is me. It was just telling me things that you already know these things. But it was just showing me deeper and deeper, and I embrace it. And that's what I'm saying. I love to explore all of consciousness. I am not afraid of infinity. Infinity, I am not afraid. I'm very blessed to have my ayahuasca experience in this dimension. Ayahuasca, it's very important for people to take ayahuasca. It's very important. It will strip your ego. It will. Whether if you take ayahuasca or not, I already foreseen that people evolve anyway. Ayahuasca is just a tool. It's just you showing yourself more of what life really is. It's there for a reason. That's it. So glad I did this audio. It was a very interesting experience. I felt like I was walking between dimensions. It was just very interesting. I really like this. I mean, it's not like I don't know what different dimension is, obviously, especially for me coming from a different time space. It's just that this experience, it has like a different personality, a unique personality of its own. And that's another reason why I like ayahuasca. Because all of my experience is not the same. It's like you're reading endless amount of books, endless amount of experience, for example, too, that there's so many different ways. I just really enjoy it. And I really feel it will help a lot of people. It will help a lot of people. I'm just so grateful that I'm doing this. And I'm so grateful that I'm here to share this with everybody. Everybody. The word everybody. You got the words. Even some words in the English language really tells you things like everyone, everybody. It's like one and body and everything. But remember, this duality stuff in this universe, yes, it is an experience, but there's much more greater things going on beyond this universe, or that even that lies within this universe. And we think that duality is just nothing could be stopped about it. No, no, there is a divine oneness within the duality, universe itself. Consciousness is about expansion. Nothing can stop it. So, just to pass this on from my own experience, I just to inspire everybody to embrace it. Until then, I will be back with hopefully with another ayahuasca experience. Take care.
Hey everyone, this is Cresso. Hey, I'm glad, I really hope everyone enjoyed my experience that I recorded yesterday. This is a recap because I was thinking overnight, and again, I had to really meditate it throughout the night. I want to bring some clarity as far as what I got from this experience. Some things I just didn't say. I didn't feel comfortable entirely to express some things in the audio. So anyway, I wanted to do a little recap in case anybody just maybe not understanding what I was saying. You know, the spirit that was talking within me, that's from a different dimension. It's really me, but what it is that it was showing me about consciousness as basically the overall consciousness is a feminine energy, but it was very firm. It's very like pure raw power. And what it is about consciousness is all about nurturing. But it's like, I just felt the experience that I had within consciousness, especially seeing a larger body of consciousness and seeing the earth, for example, it's unique. It was a unique experience, but I've seen the earth and this, let's say maybe the entire solar system, but it was like along the side of like an idea of a woman's womb, or, and, it was very interesting. And it's like I was like traveling through consciousness, and to see how consciousness, or basically how life is being recreated in a different angle, and I just got a lot out of it. It was like me and this being, this spirit within me, was traveling through consciousness. It's just amazing. And I saw myself. It was the spirit was talking to me about that. It understands my feelings about life and everything. And it read me that I wanted to, it's like I was open for being like a spiritual, nurturing. And it's like I was seeing myself, it's like I was drinking consciousness. This is weird. This might sound weird, but it's like in spirit, it's like as if consciousness is breastfeeding me of like raw energy. And it was just interesting because I was lying on the futon bed, right? In my experience, I felt so much at peace, but it's like it was nurturing me. And I felt like a sure knowing of power, but it was like actually breastfeeding me. That's basically what consciousness was doing. It's an idea of a woman, but the energy overall of consciousness is feminine. It's power. It's like, it's not, I understand. I just got a deeper, insight about the feminine energy. Feminine energy, I mean, I know we look at a feminine energy. The feminine energy, the first thing we look at is a woman, right? It's the energy. It's the energy itself. But the makeup of what consciousness is, yet it is, like, an idea of a woman. But I've seen fractals of different, it's like fractals of different women, but from different dimensions. But I know it sounds a little bit contradictory maybe for what I'm saying. I mean, a feminine has nothing to do with a female. I mean, there's men, let's say a human man, let's say a guy is just basically like, he acts a little bit feminine, but he has a masculine. It's sometimes nothing really to do with the sex. It's the energy. But anyway, for the sake of this topic, I was gonna say it's the resemblance that what I've seen consciousness. It was basically as a woman, spiritually, and I was basically being spiritually fed, like endless amount of knowledge and like all the goodness within life. And I just felt like, wow, it's like, it's an idea of a heaven. And I know it's going to sound freaky, but honestly, I don't care. The thing is that people need to understand the idea of nurturing. You're nurturing yourself. Your higher self is going to nurture you. Okay. And it's not, you see, and it's also good with a balance of a masculine energy. So there is a masculine energy within consciousness, that is, consciousness is obviously not a push, or consciousness is like pure power. And consciousness is always recreating itself over and over. It's like this earth, it's really alongside of a woman's vagina. It's just is. And I know some of the stuff I said in my audio is like, you're going to say, wow, I can't believe he said that about what the human body is. The human body, and I really meditated overnight, and I wanted to, again, bring some clarity to everybody. The human body, the human part of consciousness represents that loud voice. It represents the idea of Satan. Not saying, everybody, that you just listen with try to have an open mind. The human part of consciousness is a shell of what consciousness is. This is what I got from my ayahuasca experience. Okay. I remember I hear somebody says something about the human body is the mind. And that's exactly what it is. The human body represents that loud voice. So within your spirit, everybody, you have that calmness, that peace. But within that, it's like raw power. It's like, just because something is calm doesn't mean it's not power. It basically, it's like, there's really no comparison to the loud voice, you know, which is represents ego, or we want to call it Satan or whatever. There's really no comparison to the calmness of consciousness. I mean, there's things within consciousness that can move things without even touching anything. Or could change everything's reality without even a blink. It's just so. Things just change. These are deep spiritual messages that I got within this DMT experience. This spirit that I was traveling with within consciousness, it was telling me that, you know, Cresto, you know this stuff. You know, it was just giving me from its point of view a different angle. And again, the spirit is really me, but it's a different dimension. You know, and that's what these beings are. Anybody that take ayahuasca experience, you know, I mean, a lot of people take ayahuasca experience and they think that they look at the spiritual being as something above, and it's not. You know, I gotta call it out as it is. You know, you're allowing your ego, you know, basically, damper your own experience. These beings that you want to call a teacher or whatever, it's really you. It's you in a different dimensional plane. I'm a firm believer that life is a fractal. There's many fractals of yourselves. Okay, so you're gonna be talking to you, but in a different dimensional plane. So I just want to leave that. I see a lot of people religiousize ayahuasca, and it kind of really, I gotta call it straight up. It's really disgusting, but it's an experience. A lot of people take ayahuasca experience differently. But when you want to go and worship these beings, and you try to make it a separation, like it's trying to religiousize, like it's no different than anybody worshiping a statue and all that. I'm like, it's just that you're playing a game that you don't know who you are. Alright, that sacred ground and these silly ceremony that people put ayahuasca, you're basically playing a game. You don't know who you are yet. So maybe a lot of people need to take ayahuasca a few more times to actually get it. To actually understand that everything within this realm and beyond is connected to us. So to go back from my ayahuasca experience yesterday is that human part of consciousness is Satan. So I foresee basically that consciousness is going to break out of that shell. That human part of consciousness is meant to be broken. Okay? Your spirit, okay, is the calmness, the gooey, that raw energy. That's pure power. Okay? And consciousness is all about nurturing. Consciousness is power. It's nurturing. And it was a great experience. I cannot recall that I had an experience that like consciousness is literally breastfeeding me with like raw knowledge. Peace. I felt peace. I felt calm. But the power that's within me, it's like amazing, you know, and I just want to pass this on. It is very unique. So I really believe that that everybody that's listening to this video of my recap of my ayahuasca experience, that you would take it in and, you'd be inspired. Look, I know there's some people going through some emotional stuff, and, yeah, this world may seem dark and everything. Ayahuasca is a tool to help, to assist you, but it's not anything over you. Okay? I think a lot of people need to take that. I really believe a lot of people need to take ayahuasca. It's, you know, and if you I'm not gonna tell you where to get it. You have to do your research. But taking ayahuasca is very important. I think the human race, it's very important. But again, like I said in my ayahuasca experience, I see, with or without the ayahuasca experience, I've seen consciousness expands. You can't stop life from expanding. And I know the world may seem dark and a lot of shit goes on and it doesn't look like it, but that's an illusion. There's a lot of great powers at work. And I talk about a lot of great things. I talk about peaceful stuff, but I'm not a being of a pushover. I do believe in a firm action. And even if physical, so be it. So, I want to make it clear, about that. But, there's so much more to life. There is. To have a balance, to be at peace, but your power. You understand? It's so important to everyone to connect to that. It really is. So, that's all I have to say for this. I'm so glad I'm able to do my experience yesterday and then do this recap, because I wanted to, I was like listening to my audio. I'm like, I want to just really bring some clarity for everybody in case people not understanding, maybe just in case. But, it was great. I learned a lot from it. It's great. I felt really, it's just amazing. Just to see time being manipulated, and our emotions can manipulate our time. Actually an idea of a time. I think I said it, I think I was very clear on my audio about time, what the spirit that was talking to me from within was telling me about time, and how it was basically speeding time and slowing time down like it's a VCR. Old back in the days, like you get a VHS and hit fast forward and rewind and stuff, fast rewind. Yeah, it was amazing stuff. So anyway, I will be back. Okay, I'll do my best to to have my experience often, but if not, whenever I can, I'm so glad to share this with you. And, again, if anybody, haven't subscribed, please do so. If anyone did, thank you very much. And, if any small donation, that'll be, more than welcome. Any donation. So, alright, everybody, until then, I will be back with the next topic. Take care.